Hello, welcome to my channel, and today we are going to make a digital clock, a 12-hour digital clock. As you can see, this is the project, the final project, and we have the hours, we have the minutes, we have the seconds, and we have a section where we have our either if it is AM or PM. When this clock reaches past noon, when it is noon or past noon, the AM will change to PM. Yeah, so this is the clock. As you can see, we have to design the clock using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So let's just get into it and start with the HTML before we head on to the CSS and finalize with the JavaScript functionality. Okay. So let's get started with the HTML. And here to digital clock, our title, and you can just link the CSS and the JavaScript so that we are linking it. We just proceed with everything. So let me just have link CSS, and for the JavaScript, you can also link it. Link it and work on it. So let's structure the body for the clock. The thing we need to have is a H2 heading. Okay, so the H2 heading, we just say digital clock. Okay, let me just open the live server so that we can see what's happening. Let me just open it. As you can see, this is how it looks. So we are going to see our project is going to be. Let me just expand this, and there we have it. So we also need a clock div. Now we just write clock dot div because we need a class the clock. Inside it, we need some things. We need to create separate divs for the hour, for the minute, and for the second. So let me just go ahead and do it. So we are done with the HTML. Let's now head on to the CSS and style our body, style our clock. Okay, so for the CSS, we need to style the body first of all, first things first. And inside the body, we need to remove this margin over here. We need to set it to 0. Okay, and we also need to set our height. I like it when it has 100 viewport height. And we also need to set display to flex. Okay, and after that, we need to justify content so that to center, so that it moves to the center, and align items. For the align items center, we move it in the middle. of our height, which is 100 viewport height of the page. So, and then we need to set flex direction to column so that this is how it looks. Okay, now we need a font family. Need to change our font family and say digital. Let me just include it into the brackets. And then we need now, the next thing, I need to include a background image. Okay, need to include not a background image but a background with a URL. So I'll just include it. I think I have this image here. This image, we need to include this image. This one, we need to include it. So I'll just go ahead and I'll close it out, and I will just pick it. Okay, and after the background, we need to set it to cover. Background size, we need it to be cover. Where is it? This one. Say it, we need it cover this way. Look, you see how it looks. So this is how we need our body to be. Now let's head on to the H2 or H2. Okay, so for the H2, we need to text transform uppercase. Okay, see, this is it, how it looks. And now we also need some letter spacing, and letter spacing 5 pixels is good. Font size, the font size 20 or 25 pixels. We need text align to center. We need it to be center, and we also need color. Color is we just say black, but the default is black. We just need it to be black. Now we have a class class clock, the class that contains the hour, all these things here. So let's go ahead and style it. So I'll just say clock, and we need to display flex for the class. Yeah. Now after setting it to display flex, we need to style the clock div. This one over here, the divs now that are inside the clock, we need to style them, and set a margin of 3 pixels. Yeah. And we need, I think that is it for the clock div. You see, this margin is this one here. So we also need to the span, the clock with the class span, these spans. So I'll just say clock and include span. Okay, and now we need to set our font size to 50 pixels. Yes, And we also need a background. The background we need it to be gray. Okay. Gray. Yeah. So this is how it looks. The next thing we need to set the size, the width and the height. So I'll just say the width I will give it 100 pixels, same as the height. Just need it to have the same dimensions. And color, of course, color for the text. We need it to be white. Okay, you can see. Now we also need to display flex, the content to be in a flex way. And we justify content, we put it to center, the line items, we also put it to center. Now this green doesn't look good. We need to add some opacity. Yeah, so we can give it like 0 points. Okay, this is it. And now some text shadow will also be good to be. So 0 pixels, 15 pixels, 30 pixels. Okay, and you can just can add the RGBA. And for the red we need it to be 0, for the green 0, for the blue 0, and the alpha value we give it 0.9. Yeah, the text shadow. So let's head on to the next item, which is the clock, class of clock. Let me move it this way. The class of clock and class of unit. This one over here, let me just show you this class. We have it for the seconds, for the minutes, and for the hours. So let's style it. And we say we need the font size also, and I will just say 12 pixels. We need the height for it, and 40 pixels. We also need to text transform. Uppercase, so that this is how it looks. And we need its background. Its background will be dark green. Over here. Okay. And some letter spacing also. And I'll just have 5 pixels. Now the last item now is a clock with the class, not class but ID, with the ID AM, PM, this one over here. We need to style it also. And the first thing we need to set its position to absolute, its parent container, which is the parent container. Where is it? Let's just confirm. The parent container is the clock with the div with the class clock. So let's just set it to position relative. Okay, so that we can now change some. Let me just adjust this here so that you can see. And now we need it to appear at the bottom of its parent. The bottom will be set to 0 so that it adjusts that way. And I need some font size also, 20 pixels. Okay, for the text, as you can see, background we need it to be the green. Okay, and another important item is we need to set the width and the height. So let's just set the width to 60 pixels, and the height also, I think the height can be 35 is okay. 5, yeah, but let's just see. Doesn't look good. We need to change something here. There's a mistake. This one, the position, we needed to include the position to here so that it aligns better. So you can see this is how it aligns. Yeah. So we can now head on to the JavaScript. This is the final bit. We have completed HTML and the CSS. Now we need to finish with JavaScript. So see you in the JavaScript part. Okay, welcome to the JavaScript part. So the first thing, as usual, we want to get some elements from our HTML, and basically we need to get the hours, minutes, seconds, and these AM PM elements. So let's just get it into the JavaScript before we continue building on. So we have just taken our elements from the HTML into our JavaScript, and since they are all IDs, as you can see, we used IDs. We just got them from the HTML using the get element by ID. So the next step is to define our function, the function that will be updating our clock. So let's just say function update clock. Okay, so we're just going to define it, and the first thing is to define the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. So let me just write it and explain. So in this function, we used the date constructor to get our hours and our minutes and our seconds, the current ones. So after here, we also said let am pm is equals to am, and now we have to define a function below it. We are going to say now if the hours okay, if the hours are greater than 12, then we are going to say hour is equals to, the hour will be equals to hour minus 12. Okay, and we also change the am pm to become pm. Okay, so here is am, and if the hours are greater than 12, we are going to say pm. Okay, after giving this condition, we now have to say, okay, we are going to say hour is equals to hour. Let me write and explain. So hour less than simple 0, and then a question mark. Okay, and sorry, here is supposed to be 10, then this one. So this one these conditions here will enable us to add a 0. For instance, if it's 6 o'clock in the morning, or 9 or 8, which is before any hour which is before 10, we are going to add a 0. We are going to add a 0 to the hour, to the minute, and to the second. So that is what it means. And now the next thing we want to do is to manipulate our elements. These elements, we want to manipulate these elements using the inner text property. So we are just going to say our element dot inner text, okay, is equals to our, and then we do the same for the minute and the second. From here, we now need to set our interval at which our clock will be updating. So we are going to use the set timeout method. And inside it, we need to do it for our function over here. So we are going to just write it. we need our clock to update every 1 second, which is also 1000 milliseconds. Okay, so this now we need to call our function here. We can call it outside here. So it's going to be update clock this way. Okay, and now after having done all this, now we expect our clock to work. So let's just see how it works. As you can see here, it works now. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. I'll be glad if you subscribe to my channel if you liked the content. So goodbye and see you in the next project.